This is the question number 4. Buzz marketing as an ad. Marketing buzz, or simply buzz, a term that is used in viral marketing, is the interaction of consumers and users of a product or service which amplifies or alters the original marketing message. Buzz marketing is a technique that is focused on maximizing the word-of-mouth potential of a particular campaign or product and is performed in the form of whether that is through conversations among consumers, family, and friends. Actually, that is the oldest technique of information spreading, a word-of-mouth way. Since the end of 19th century, there was a trick among the sellers to hire an actor who is perceived by society as elegant and high-ranked gentleman or lady who performed certain type of buzz about goods, positive or negative ones. You may see this trick in the movie The Jones 2010, where the actors performed the happy family to convince the environment to purchase the same goods and services to have the same level of happiness. The term was performed in academic literature by Rapart in 1996 at Fast Company Journal in the article with title The Virus of Marketing. But in history, the term viral strategy was first used in marketing in 1995 in a pre-digital marketing era by a strategy team at Ph.D. Advertising in LA for the launch of the first PlayStation for Sony Computer Entertainment. As Rapart said in his paper, when it comes to getting a message out with little time, minimal budgets, and maximum effect, nothing on earth beats a virus. Let's proceed with stages and tasks of marketing communications. There are several reasons why managers communicate to these markets or audience. They may be named as stages at the same time. First of all, inform. Management needs to make the audience aware that the company's product or service exists in a way preferable for the company. For example, somewhere there is a device, let's call it a bracelet, which receives the phone calls for mobile phone by vibration to the hand of the carrier. It sends signal of incoming call to the owner. At this stage of communication, this information gives a certain perception to the market of what this product does. The next step is persuade. A further stage is creating favorable attitude to the company's product or its brands or to the company in general. At this step, the communication is built to convince the audience that this product serves to the needs of the customer with superiority comparatively to competitors' offers. For instance, as for our example with a smart bracelet, in a message it said that it's a color-customized bracelet, smart accessory that pairs with the smartphones to send notifications through vibration, sound, and light. And for its competitor, we will talk about Fitbit brand. Isn't it so pretty via Facebook? So we should guess what message will win. We'll see. Image creation. The base for the image creation is the differentiation of the product. For example, for the smart bracelet, it will be the image of the words first smart accessory that lets you change its light designs to match every outfit or occasion besides other advantages. In some markets, the image created by the firm's communications will be the only one and main differentiation among brands. It's true for the food or drinks markets. In blind tests, customers hardly can identify the brands. There was the case for Coca-Cola once. And for some lager beer brands too, customers cannot discriminate the brands among the others because of the standardized production process. But they have preferences, Carlsberg or Stella Artois or Bud, in terms of the slogans, symbols, and actors presented in the advertising. So the image is the complex system of beliefs that is created via different communication channels and sometimes the only means of differentiation. The first stage is reinforcement. In the maturity stage, the communication is aimed not at winning new customers, but at reassuring existing ones that they have made the correct choice. For most established businesses, retaining existing customers is more important to future sales than winning new ones. Effective communications reinforcements carrying customers by reminding them that their brand is still reliable, relevant, and has a good value. Otherwise, the customers would switch on other brands with new benefits and values. Element, that is presented as a brand for smart bracelets, was offered by Zhingzhou and its new product supported by early adopters, but competition is always high in smart wristband market. And to be successful, the company should reinforce the customers with the support messages and events that proves that the buyer's choice was right. Marketing communications normally covers personal selling, media advertising, direct response marketing, sales promotions, and public relations. We should mention also the external attractiveness of product, price, and presentation, that is, communicating with the buyers through the physical or sensor contacts, and one more interesting tool, buzz marketing, that creates the image and attractiveness of the product, but I will tell you more details later in further slides. The communications process starts with a sender that wants to communicate a message to an audience. The sender could be a salesperson calling on a potential customer or a firm sending a message to millions of customers through a communication channel. The sender has to put the intended message into words, pictures, or symbols that can be transmitted. That is called encoding. The encoded message is then transmitted through a medium such as television advertisement or an email letter or Facebook post to a client. If the audience receives the message, it is then interpreted or decoded. The audience may then respond in some way. Finally, there is a feedback, which is the information that the sender obtains about the audience response. Is the message really working, and does it get the attention company needs? Research shows that it depends first upon the characteristics of the audience and second upon the impact of the message. The main factors are as in the list, as you see in slide. Messages of practical value. If customers are in the market for the product, they are more likely to pay attention to the information presented in the message to understand if this product matches their expectations. Messages that are consistent. People look for information that justifies recent buying decisions. New buyers try to prove themselves that the choice was made correctly. Then messages should be interesting. If the communicator knows what interests the target audience, it can capture attention by reflecting this interest in the message. It can be snowboards in the new stream that will catch the eye, or new coffee shop, but it must be relevant to the interest of their audience. Messages that are new. People pay more attention to messages that announce fresh news about the brand or the company. And messages should have an impact. The attention can be increased by spending more to creativity of the message with which it is expressed. For example, impact is increased with the size of the message, the use of color, movement, expression, and let's remember that a picture is worth of 1,000 words. Let's research case number 1, a Fitbit. Since launching its first device in late 2009, a year later than it promised, Fitbit has experienced explosive revenue growth with 246% over the 2010-2014 time period, culminating in nearly 750 million in sales in 2014. Fitbit entered the Hong Kong market in 2013. For the Hong Kong market, instead of focusing on traditional advertising, the brand chooses to conduct digital campaigns such as social media contests for fans of its Facebook page and bloggers. Sports is also an important focus for the brand. It organizes events for sports fanatics such as marathons and distributes its products in retail outlets, selling products that combine sports and lifestyle. Another marketing strategy that has worked well in the United States for the brand was the introduction of the concept of corporate wellness to the office community. The brand contacted human resources departments of big companies such as Adopt and British Petroleum and ran wellness programs to encourage their employees to do more exercise and keep fit. Fitbit conducts e-commerce transactions in the United States as well as in Japan and other markets through its own website. Fitbit significantly increased its effort in both distribution and marketing in 2014, helping to drive the company's 175% growth in 2014. The contract with Winit Distribution was the most significant change in this year. By selling Fitbits everywhere from Costco to Sports Authority to the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, Winit moved from more than 10% of revenue to 13% by the end of the year and became Fitbit's largest single distributor. Best Buy and Amazon were noted as the next two largest distributors, with the overall top 5 responsible for around half of the company's revenues, helping push its products to over 45,000 retail stores across 50 countries. The next question is buyer perception and behavior. As Doyle and Stern mentioned in their book Marketing Management, even if the message gets through the attention filter, it may be misinterpreted by the receiver. People have their own set attitudes that lead to expectations about what a message should say about an object. They see what fits into their belief system, ignore things that are discordant, and add things which are consistent to the beliefs. The best way to use this interpretation law, we should leave incomplete message to let customer to fill in it. People interpret a message in a way this message meets their needs and values. First of all, we should talk about needs. The greater the need, the more value is placed on a product that may satisfy it. A message about a food product is likely to be more carefully interpreted if seen immediately before dinner than just after. All the news about social movements can be ignored by an unaware person. The next is values. Words and expressions that are familiar are more likely to be interpreted correctly than those which are unfamiliar. And there can be the negative cases when the double meaning is really ruining the message. And the next one is group pressure. People tend to interpret messages in the same ways as other members of their group. People generally seek to conform to their peer groups. The reference group really work for the advertising via different channels. Your friends and friends' friends form your attitude to the product or value in a process of stereotyping. This case of Electrolux brought new meaning of the shared values and interpretation when Scandinavian vacuum manufacturer used the verb with double meaning in poster. This case became an advertising legend and was replicated by followers. The replication took place because of the shock and attention that was put to this message. To get the same attention, even negative, became an obsession among the marketers. When we talk about communications effectiveness, we should start with objective. The objective of the communicator is to get a response from the audience. In marketing, the firm normally wants to make customers to try and then repurchase the brand. In social activity, the response means the person behavior changes, purchasing, repurchasing the product, of course, but in other dimension, changing the attitude by sharing values, sharing the information about the product, and reproduce the idea of message into the society. The first task of management is to define the communication objective. For a new product, this might be the achieving defined levels of awareness and interest, or maybe image creation. This is another case of using the same idea to shock the watcher and to bring message that will be fulfilled by the client's emotions. If it will a fear or rage or sympathy for the animal's needs, that will be a reaction and the mission is accomplished. The same way it works here. We have here a triangle of needs existed in society, shared values, and group pressure. If we will recall the characteristics of message that will gain the attention, we may say, the message is consistent, as we have here data and topic of the meeting and name of organization. Is this message interesting? Definitely. There is a trick that gets the attention. The additional nip looks strange before you get the idea of similarity with the begging hand. This performance is new, and this message has an impact on audience. A message may be successful in achieving high awareness, but ineffective in producing results because it's not understood. not credible, or hits the wrong target market segment. The metrics or figure in this slide can be used to evaluate a company's communications campaign. A simple ranking from 0 to 5 points can be given for each variable to indicate how well it contributes to each step in the hierarchy of the effects. The resulting profile will indicate the strengths and weaknesses of the campaign and suggest areas for improvement. For example, a humorous message might score well on creating interest in the product, but score badly in generating comprehension and positive attitudes to it. Exactly the same way, a particular media mix may do well on the awareness variable but poorly on action because it's oriented to the wrong target market. The third question of the lecture is how to develop the message. Once decisions have been made about who the advertiser is targeting, what objectives it wants to achieve, the next task is how to produce a message to achieve the objective. Normally, developing message means work on 4 aspects: content, structure, format, and source. First aspect is message content. Content refers to the appeal that ads have to motivate the customer. There are at least 2 types of appeal: rational and emotional. Rational appeals focus on the functional benefits of the product. They seek to persuade customers of its superior performance, lower costs, or better value. Where buying decisions are predominantly rational, for example, industrial buying, expensive consumer durables and functional items, this is the obvious type of appeal to motivate consumers. As for emotional appeals, it evokes feelings about the brand to motivate purchase. These appeals work where there are no real differences between products and when brands are detected as image attributes. It works for watches, cigarettes, beer and cosmetics, coffee shops and restaurants, etc. Emotional appeals can be split into positive and negative. Positive emotional appeals include humor and the promise of success, beauty, or happiness. Negative appeals include fear, guilt, and shame. The latter are often used in anti-smoking, drink driving, and insurance advertising. Research suggests that excessive use of negative appeals, particularly the use of fear, can discourage people from looking at the message and so be counterproductive. It is true, for instance, for the healthy style promotion, dentist services advertising, but in my mind it still may work for environmentally friendly goods through the feeling of guilt. Now we will discuss aspect number 2, message structure. The effectiveness of the message depends upon how it is said, as well as what is said. First of all, we should decide will the message state a definite conclusion, or may it give more space for imagination. It may give the receiver possibility to draw his or her own conclusions from the message. The academic researchers say that where the customer is likely to be interested in the area, if the message is incomplete, it triggers more involvement and motivation to think about the brand. Stating conclusions is more appropriate where the target segment is less likely to be motivated or would be incapable of determining the appropriate conclusion. Other researchers said that one-sided or two-sided arguments are used with different appropriateness. The research suggests that two-sided arguments work better for educated audience and where people are not initially positive about the product. Comparative advertising is used where the brand is compared against another specific brand in the product class. There are no simple answers about the relative effectiveness of comparative advertising. In general, it works best for unknown brands or brands with a small market share that are seeking to challenge the leader. The aspect number 3 is message format. The format of the message depends upon the media used: TV, press, radio, billboards, internet, social media, etc. Format includes copy, the verbal portion of the ad, artwork, the illustrations used, layout, the physical arrangement of headlines, copy, illustration, and brand identification, and of course the jingle, short melody that is associated with the brand. The combination of these elements put together has a major impact on the effectiveness of the ad. People's attention is almost invariably engaged more by the picture than by the headline or copy. The source in the ad may be the company itself, the brand name, or the actor who endorses the product. The effectiveness of a source depends upon its credibility and attractiveness. Credibility means the degree to which the source is perceived as being an expert with respect to the product and is unbiased in the claims being made for it. Credibility is lost if the audience believes that the expert is being paid to make the claims about the product. The second factor affecting the source's effectiveness is its attractiveness. Attractiveness is the receiver's perception of the prestige of the source, the degree to which the source is similar to the receiver and his or her physical or personal attractiveness. Top sport people, film stars, and celebrities can be seen as attractive sources. There are the examples of attractive celebrities who play a significant role in our perception of the goods. For example, Jennifer Aniston for the Smart Water, Julia Roberts presents the Lancome products, George Clooney for coffee, and Johnny Depp for Dior Sauvage. This is the question number 4. Buzz marketing as an ad. Marketing buzz, or simply buzz, a term that is used in viral marketing, is the interaction of consumers and users of a product or service which amplifies or alters the original marketing message. Buzz marketing is a technique that is focused on maximizing the word-of-mouth potential of a particular campaign or product and is performed in the form of whether that is through conversations among consumers, family, and friends. Actually, that is the oldest technique of information spreading, a word-of-mouth way. Since the end of 19th century, there was a trick among the sellers to hire an actor who is perceived by society as elegant and high-ranked gentleman or lady who performed certain type of buzz about goods, positive or negative ones. You may see this trick in the movie The Jones 2010, where the actors performed the happy family to convince the environment to purchase the same goods and services to have the same level of happiness. The term was performed in academic literature by Rapart in 1996 at Fast Company Journal in the article with title The Virus of Marketing. But in history, the term viral strategy was first used in marketing in 1995 in a pre-digital marketing era by a strategy team at Ph.D. Advertising in LA for the launch of the first PlayStation for Sony Computer Entertainment. As Rapart said in his paper, when it comes to getting a message out with little time, minimal budgets, and maximum effect, nothing on earth beats a virus. Here are 6 rules on how to succeed at virus marketing. Rule number 1. Stealth is the essence of market entry. Most marketers know that getting into the consumer's mind is the toughest part of the challenge. The usual response is simply to turn up the volume. Viruses are smarter. They found a way into the host under the guise of another, unrelated activity. For example, Pepsi-Cola is great at experimenting with V-marketing. The Mountain Dew campaign offers kids the chance to send 10 proofs of purchase and $35 to qualify for Motorola pager. The kids have to subscribe to the paging service themselves, and Mountain Dew reserves the right to beep their newly equipped customers with Dew-related messages on a weekly basis. So every time the pager goes off, it reminds the kids indirectly who's responsible for getting them that piece of social technology. Rule number 2. What's up front is free. Payment comes later. Many viruses will lie dormant in their host for years before demanding payback. Digital viruses often burrow into an unsuspecting hard drive and wait for their trigger date before making their presence known. So, there is a rule: no payment up front. Rule number 3. Let the behaviors of the target community carry the message. Viruses do not spread by chance. They let the high-frequency behaviors of their hosts, social interaction, email, web surfing, carry them into new territories. The lesson for virus marketers: fashion your messages so that the target markets will transmit them as a part of their core interests. Rule number 4. Look like a host, not a virus. Consider Nike's Just Do It campaign. It was an expensive ploy to hire the world's most popular celebrity athletes to buy television time at $40,000 a second during Super Bowl, and to saturate the retail channel with product promotions and giveaways. But none of that worked as well as Nike's tagline, "Just do it." The phrase is practically an entry in the Merriam-Webster dictionary under the listing American culture. Everyone from cynical marketers in ad agencies to prison guards in B movies are using the phrase without irony. Every time they use it, they are endorsing Nike products. Rule number 5. Exploit the strength of weak ties. We already mentioned in that course that individuals with many casual social connections have a larger influence on communities than do individuals with fewer strong connections. Viruses thrive on weak ties. The movement of viruses over the web, a practically infinite collection of weak ties in countless virtual communities, is a prime example. Amway and Mary Kay Cosmetics, for instance, have the strategy that is aimed to find a collection of individuals who excel at developing a larger number of weak ties and use those ties to sell products and services. Rule number 6. Invest to reach the tipping point. Viruses do not become epidemics until they reach the tipping point. In other words, the virus must expand through the host population until it reaches a certain threshold of visibility and scale. Think of it this way: a virus doubles each year. That's why Microsoft's true leverage with its DOS and Windows operating systems took a decade to pay off. Today, Microsoft operating systems run on an estimated 85 million PCs the world over. That's why CNN was viewed as a joke by the mainstream press, until suddenly everyone is getting real-time news 24 hours, 7 days a week. I want you to watch some examples of viral marketing. The first is the video created by Coca-Cola to promote cross-cultural interactions and expand the market, and another one is video to promote the movie Carrie.